Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's do some prayers before our class. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitra Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Asto ma satgamya, tamso ma jyotirgamya, mrityurma amritam gamya. Om sehna vavatu sehna bhunaktu, sehviryam karvavahe, tejasvi navadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om shanti 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 om. Couple of weeks ago, we finished going through verse by verse. In fact, word by word, the Taittiriya Upanishad. And then we saw the need for going in a summary form also. And last week I went through the summary of Taittiriya Upanishad. Taittiriya Upanishad has 3 chapters. So we looked at the first chapter in summary, Shiksha Valli. Then we looked at the second chapter, started looking at it, that is called a Brahmanand Valli. And in this one, mainly those Panchakosha, they have been explained. That these Panchakosha, the 5 sheets, are not who we are. In a very logical way, with some examples, this Rishi is teaching his students. So we looked at the Anmaya Kosh and the Pranmaya Kosh. So established during the search that that's not real us. Because real us is aware, conscious, and capable of knowing what the body is, what the prana is. And now we'll see that real us, the awareness of the consciousness, is capable of the thought also. So first, if we thought that we are the body, we learned that we are not the body. And the reasons which were given was that body changes. From the childhood to the youth to the old age, we see the changes. And it is observed. It is not the observer, it is observed. So that means this is the object, not the subject. Now we're going to go through the third layer, the third sheet. The third parameter is this: can the you that you think of as you think of itself? So just like the body and the life breath failed the test, that it's not me. I am not the body. I'm not the breath. So the third thing which this Rishi pointed out, that look at this mind or the mental sheath, which is called a Manomaya Kosh. Is this really you? Once we observed that, we found out that mind is also an object, just like the body and the breath. Mind is not the subject. Does the mind change in its abilities? Of course it does. When we were younger, we could not understand physics as well. Or maybe the language which we spoke as a toddler, we are not speaking the same way. So that means that mind is not you either. Another thing, pay attention to, can the mind think for itself? Not really. It is influenced by what you read or watch or feel. What have we got then? So that's why this Rishi says, go a little deeper than the mind, because mind is not sure. Sure, mind directs the body and the breath. That is sure. But what is the mind directed and supported by? Just like we stand on a boat. What is boat standing on? Or the house is standing on the earth. How is earth being supported? The same way we got to investigate what is supporting the mind. And we came up to the conclusion with the help of this great Rishi that by understanding or intellect, the part of you that takes in the stimuli and information from the external world, processes it, analyzes it, feels about it, decides it, and using the discernment, it knows how to react to it. This is the sheath of the perception, emotion, intuition, discretion of right and wrong, ethics and morality. And this is called a Vigyanmaya Kosha. So higher than the or subtler than the Manomaya Kosha is Vigyanmaya Kosha. So intellect, understanding, perception, and discretion, and undoubtedly, they are Brahma. Because nothing is without Brahma. They are the highest, more superior, and sophisticated of all the faculties. They are what make us human, the intellect. But is your intellect really you? Again, that question should be asked. Most of us will say that, of course, it is me, my intellect. Because these are my feelings, my emotions, my opinions, my particular likes and dislikes, my sense of what's right and wrong, my unfounded phobias and my strongest beliefs. This is my intellect, because they make me me. But let's put that conviction to our three-part test, which we have been doing. Can you observe your feelings? Can you control your emotions? Of course you can. Which means they are the objects. They are not the subject. Can you alter your understanding of something as new data comes in? Do you sometimes change your opinions based on what your friends are telling you? Of course we do. So that means this understanding, perception, they change constantly. Cannot be self, the you. Because when we change our understanding, we don't say that we have changed. Our understanding got changed. You are still the same person. So that means that Vigyanmaya Kosha is not really us. So that's why this Rishi helped the students to go a little deeper, to find the subject, the self, the Brahm itself. Brahm, which is illuminating all these sheets. what is that you experience? For a few fleeting moments of or hours, when you are living so intensely in the moment that the world it seems to fall away from and around you, and you are not conscious of your body or breath or mind or intellect, when your thoughts are not jumping around like monkeys, and you feel a vast, all embracing love and complete detachment from everything and everyone around you, what do you feel? Because this is the state when we are either in the deep sleep, or it could be during meditation, or even during a walk in the forest. You feel joy, delight, contentment, peace, love. If you're feeling any or all of these things at any point, the Taittiriya Upanishad says, you have succeeded in shedding the first four shades, which we have talked about so far. The food sheath, the prana sheath, the mind sheath, and the intellect sheath. You have succeeded in transcending them. And this is when you feel this kind of a joy. That is a Anandamaya Kosh. When that happens, you see the world as it truly is. You understand that you are no different than others, and that no one is different from you. Your understanding becomes crystal clear. There's a clarity in it. By your own emotions, feelings, and prejudices, you have dropped them. This Rishi said this sheath of bliss also has the shape of a man. Because this is one of the things he kept telling us. The whole body is not that bliss is only at one point. The prana is also the shape of the body. The mind is the shape of the body. The intellect also the shape of the body. The bliss is also the shape of the body. Who has love as his head, joy as his right side, delight as his left side. His body is permeated with bliss, anand. It is the heart of him, his very soul. So this is what he mentioned about the Anandamaya Kosh. But the trouble is that it is extraordinarily difficult to get to this state of bliss. Neither can your mind help you, nor your intellect. Even if you have arrived there by some fluke, the moment you put what you are feeling into words, okay, that's blissful. Right away, you have analyzed it, you experience it, which means you have moved away from the Ananda. Because you are using the intellect and you are saying, I am different. So again, we got to look at it. If you see bliss, because you are bliss, you are love, you are joy. That is your true nature. That is the nature of Brahma himself. This is who you are, but anytime we become lower than this, we are getting into the trap of these shades. Here is what's interesting. That each day, every single day, each of us get to enjoy a brief and blissful few hours in the Anandamaya Kosh. Seriously. It happens in a deep, dreamless untroubled sleep. When we are no longer thinking of ourselves as a separate or different from anyone or anything else, when even the ego, the sense of I, disappears, when the body and intellect subside into nothingness every night. It could be few hours, or sometimes it could be just few minutes. It is beyond that dream state. This is called a deep sleep state. In Sanskrit, it's called sushupti. It's beyond Jagrat and Nidra. It's a sushupti. The only way to peel back the outer sheaths and get to the bliss sheath in the conscious state. I'm not talking about during deep sleep where you're not conscious. In the conscious state is to stop identifying with your body, your mind, your desires, your feelings, your thoughts, and your emotions. Okay? And most of us will say, I can't do it. That's why this Rishi mentioned the ladder of bliss, because sometimes we think that if we have this, we do this, we go there, we will achieve this bliss. For that reason, he gave us the ladder of bliss. It's like a very cool device he gave it to us. He said, take a young man, a good young man, who is well-read, well-built, and strong. This is his example. So youthfulness is there, character is there. And he says, imagine that the wealth of the whole world is his. So material wealth is also, so healthy, physical, strong body, good character, and the material wealth also. He said that is a single measure of human bliss. Then he says 100 measures of human bliss is as one measure of bliss for the Gandharvas. Okay? So all the happiness from this material world, through the body, through the material possession, he says that is one measure, and Gandharvas have 100 times more than that. And Gandharvas are the Devatas, the celestial entertainers, Gandharva. Then he says this, so this is a ladder, just stay with me. 100 measures of Gandharva bliss as one measure of bliss for the Pitris. The ancestors who have done good deeds, and they have reached that Pitri Lok. Then he says 100 measures of Pitri bliss is as one measure of bliss for the Devatas. Devatas are the head of these elemental forces, Devta. Agni Devta, Vayu Devta, Jal Devta, Akash Devta. And 100 measures of Dev bliss is as one measures of bliss for Indra. Indra is the king of the Devtas. 100 measures of Indra bliss is as one measure of bliss for Brihaspati. Now, who is the Brihaspati? Brihaspati is the guru of the Devtas. 100 measures of Brihaspati bliss is as one measure of bliss for Prajapati. Who is a Prajapati? Brahma. 100 measures of Prajapati bliss is as one measures of bliss for Brahm. Brahm. We all know the difference between the Brahm and the Brahma, which is also the measure of bliss enjoyed by one who has realized the self and is free of desires. This is the point he's trying to make. A person who has gotten rid of all the desires, his bliss is equivalent to Brahma bliss. See, that's why that brahmacharya word in our scriptures, which often misunderstood. Brahmacharya means that mind is roaming in a Brahma vichar. So you can see that how many times a measure of human bliss is a measure of Brahma bliss. You can do your math here by going through this ladder. So this was in the second chapter. Brahmanand Valli. That's why he talks about this Brahmanand, the supreme bliss. As human beings, we are capable of attaining this Brahma. And we waste this human life just for small things. We got to look at it. How many hours a day we really try to go towards Brahma, and how many hours we spend just for this temporary Maya illusion, which we know that which will be left behind, which we know it's very inert, which we know it has no joy of its own. So this ladder, this example which this Rishi gave to these students, it's very capturing actually, because very clearly he says, the person who doesn't have any desire, free of desire, he said, no desire. Even otherwise also, when we find some people like that, whether we know them in our family or in the society, that they don't have any desires, worldly desires. We draw some kind of inspiration from them. And we see the shine of the bliss on their face also. When they walk like a yogi. When they talk like a yogi. When they eat like a yogi. This is the definition of a yogi. No desires. Then now, because this is just a summary we are going through. So let's look at the third chapter also. Bhrigu Valli. Valli means a creeper. So there are three creepers in this Upanishad. Okay, three creepers. So third one is a creeper of Bhrigu. Bhrigu Valli tells the story of the great sage Bhrigu. Okay. Son of Varuna. So father's name is Varuna. Discovered through severe penances the true nature of the self and the true nature of Brahma. So in other words, in order to reach to this level, we need to do some sadhana. That's what austerity or the penance is, sadhana. Only then we will get established into the true nature of bliss. So it contains ideas similar to those of Brahmanand Valli, but it also tells us the importance of single-minded determination to any great quest. So Bhrigu, when he was young boy, he went to his father, Varun, and said to him, "Sir, teach me about Brahma." But Varun, the father, the Rishi, who was clearly not the kind of a teacher who believed in spoon feeding his students, and certainly not his own son, he sent him away with a little instruction. He said food, life breath, sight, hearing, mind, speech. First, to spend some time meditating on these. Learn about them. Think about where they came from, what they are sustained by, where they go when a man dies. He says, that is Brahm. Come back to me when you have some answers. So he says, contemplate upon it, go away, do your sadhana, then come to me. And Bhrigu, who never wanted to cross his father, went away and did his penances, discovered that food was indeed Brahma. From food, all creatures are born. On food, they are sustained also. Into food, they pass when they die. But he wasn't fully satisfied. And he went back to his father and said, Sir, teach me about Brahma. The father said, go and do your penances again. And you will discover him, Brahma, for yourself. So Bhrigu went away and did more austerity, discovered that Brahma was the life breath. Food is the grossest. The life breath is subtlest. So he climbed up into the subtler realm. From the life breath, indeed, were all creatures born. By life breath, they were sustained. And to the life breath, they returned upon death. But he was not totally satisfied. So he went back to his father and said, Sir, teach me about Brahma. His question is the same. And father says, go and do your austerity again. Because father knew, the guru knew what is happening. He says, you will discover him for yourself. So he went on over and over until Bhrigu, through intense meditation and reflection, discovered that Brahma was not only food and life breath, but also mind, perception, and bliss. This is how Bhrigu realized the self. And that's how he realized Brahma. Those who, like him, discover the self for themselves will never lack for food. They will have offspring, fame, wealth, and the radiance that comes from sacred knowledge. That's what this Rishi was telling the other students, because there were other students also in the class. To encourage the other students to stay on the path of spirituality, because sometimes we think that if I just meditate, if I keep on doing the seva, what will happen to my family? What will happen to the food which I need to earn? So that's why, to encourage them, he said, they will have all. But then on top of it, they'll have a radiance which comes from sacred knowledge. That's how this Taittiriya Upanishad gets concluded. So once again, the Upanishadic insistence on self-study and self-discovery is recommended here. This is not something which you can buy or pay for, or go to a certain place and attain it. We have to do our own part. You may have the greatest teacher in the world on your side. And make no mistake about it, you will need a good teacher to guide you in any pursuit of your choice. But unless you put in your own effort, you will never get anywhere. It could be a Brihaspati, it could be a Brahma himself can come and teach you. But if you don't put your own effort, you will not attain what this student attained. Teacher is only a guide. The journey is entirely ours. This is a big lesson to be learned from this Upanishad. So remember that we talked about the 5 sheets in this Upanishad. The 5 sheets are concealing our identity. So Anand mein kosh, Pran mein kosh, Mano mein kosh, Vigyan mein kosh, and even Anand mein kosh. If the Anand was not just a sheath, they will not call it a Anand mein kosh. Because a sheath, by its very definition, covers or conceals something. And in this case, it is the self, the truth. So what lies behind, beyond the final sheath? It is that us, the Atma, the part of the Paramatma. Actually, it is exactly the same. That bliss, pure bliss, which is not tainted, which is not dependent upon anything else. Some people call it a shunya, nothingness. Some people call it a puran, completeness. Pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is both nothing and everything. So we don't need to get confused about it. But this is who we are. And that is just a complete bliss. They give the examples in the other Upanishads. Example of the onion. Keep removing the layers of the onions. At the end, what do we find? Right in the middle, nothing. This is what happens over here too. And in that nothing is everything. This is what this Rishi is trying to tell us. So it's a long Upanishad. We went through very quickly in these last 2 lectures, but we have the details of it in other recordings also, if you want to go back and listen to it again. A lot of good examples, a lot of different ways this Rishi has tried to explain it to us. But the main importance is on your sadhana. Only then we can experience it. Guru experienced it with his own practices, own sadhana. And we need to experience it with our own sadhana. Okay? So let's stop it here and we can discuss further. Om Purnamata Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.